We Saved You a Seat is sponsored by the Oklahoma Family Network. Oklahoma Family Network focuses on supporting families of children and youth with special health care needs and disabilities, as well as families who have children with a mental health or behavioral health diagnosis. Oklahoma Family Network provides families with emotional support, resource navigation, parent-to-parent engagement opportunities, and wants to ensure quality health care for all children and families by building strong and effective family-professional partnerships. I'm so excited to have you meet Skye Collins today. She is a co-founder of Oklahoma Rare, and today we celebrate Rare Disease Day with her as our guest. Thank you, Skye, for joining us and being a part of We Saved You a Seat.
I'm really happy and honored to be here. We love to share our story, just hoping that maybe someone will connect with it, and it's important to us, and that's why we do it. And as you've probably found for Oklahoma, there just aren't a lot of resources. When you get a rare disease diagnosis or a suspected rare disease diagnosis. Oklahoma Rare was kind of co-founded, if you want to call it that, by two moms of children who were diagnosed with a rare disease. One of those moms is also diagnosed with the rare disease. And we created it out of trying to create a space where there really is a gap of that connection for the rare disease community in Oklahoma. That was really important to us. Oklahoma really needed a space to share resources, to have support. And really, Oklahoma Rare, our goal is just to bring together all of those affected by rare diseases in Oklahoma and to amplify their voices. Rare is not always rare, because when we talk about rare disease, what is a rare disease? There are 10,000 plus rare diseases. 1 in 10 Americans are affected. So in Oklahoma, that equals about 395,000 Oklahomans that are affected by rare disease, and that does not include their caregivers or loved ones. So that's a big population, and we really had to know space to connect and share and have community. So that's really why we created it. And we're spending a lot of time now. We educate lawmakers, pushing for better policies, just to creating a better future where every family has a connection on their journey. Right now, we're really advocating for the passage of a rare disease advisory council in Oklahoma. 30 other states have them. We have been working the past 2 years with NORD, who's the National Organization of Rare Disorders, and we are making progress. So we just passed another hurdle yesterday. Senate Bill 207 passed the Senate Appropriations Committee. So we're really excited about that. We hope we think now we're going to be going to the full Senate. So it's really exciting. It's the farthest that we've gotten, and it is really the council really gives a voice to Oklahomans living with rare disease.
I love that. So, do you work closely with Oklahoma senators?
Senator Carrie Hicks, she has been a rare champion. We approached Senator Hicks last session and asked if she would be willing to run this bill, because she had run other legislation for RUSP alignment, for newborn infant screening. And so we thought she might be a good partner, and she just jumped on the chance, and she has been an amazing partner. And I just want to shout out also to her staff. Jonathan is amazing, one of my favorite humans, and has been a really great partner and champion along the way as well.
So, tell me, how long have y'all been established?
Well, I think we kind of started Oklahoma Rare in about 20, I think it was 2022 is when we really were like, we need a space. We need social media. We just really need to start. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we just need to start. And that was our starting place. So we still use social media a lot as our presence. We have a Facebook group, and just, the goal of connecting families. We don't know where it will go from here. My goal is to kind of keep it community owned. This is not about Skye. It's not about my family or my daughter. I really want it to be owned by the community and other people to have ownership in it as well.
I love that because you're right. There's the more voices that we have combined, we can be a little louder. So give me a little bit of backstory on your why. Why is this an important or an organization? Why? How did you get involved? And just give us a little background on that.
Sure. So I am the mom of three daughters, three amazing daughters, and I have an amazing grandson. Our youngest daughter, who was born in 2012, uh, she about 8.5 years after she was born, and if you're doing the math, that's a long diagnostic journey. 8.5 years later, she would be diagnosed with Milan syndrome. And Milan syndrome is an ultra rare genetic neurodevelopmental disorder that affects multiple body systems. So it causes overgrowth, intellectual disability, vision and hearing issues, as well as other issues. She's about one of 320 in the world diagnosed with Milan syndrome. Then that's currently, there are likely others out there that are waiting or are on their diagnostic journey. We had signs when she was about 3 weeks old, and endless specialist visits over the years, misdiagnoses, and mostly just waiting for answers. So it was really a lonely journey for us. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know, remember when maybe about 5 years, she was probably about five, that there was no one in the world that could understand what she was going through and what our family was going through. It seemed like there was no one going through what we were going through. So we were really lonely. And without that diagnosis, we really lacked access to community, to medical care. So our daughter should have been seeing cardiology when she was born, and she didn't see a cardiologist till she was 9. We were lacking therapies, and just really most importantly, a community of families that were on the same journey as us.
That's powerful to understand that there were 8.5 years of just not understanding or not knowing and no information. And it doesn't sound like you have a lot of information now as far as one in 320. So there's a lot to learn.
You would be surprised. So we got her diagnosis, and we just had a gene. We have a gene name. It's the NF1X gene. So I did what everyone should not do. I went home and I Googled, and I typed it. And as soon as I typed that in, the Milan Syndrome Foundation popped up, and we started to learn a little bit more. So even though there's only 320 diagnosed, we have an amazing foundation, a patient organization that connects families, that provides resources. Many of them have become second families to us. I often think, how did I do this without them for 8.5 years? I have no idea where were you? You were out there, and we had no idea you were there. It was started by three moms who wanted to create community, and now they're connecting people across the world. We've had two conferences, so where we have all connected, once in North Carolina, once in Florida, and those were really powerful. The first conference was 2 years ago, so I think it was in 2022. We had flown in. We were terrified of, we'd never flown with our daughter. She has a lot of complex medical needs. And so we were, but we took a leap of faith and we did it. So we got there after a long day of travel. We get up to our hotel room, and everyone is starving. And we had our oldest daughter and our grandson with us as well. So we come down the elevator. I mean, we were looking at hot mess. We were looking like we had just traveled for 12 hours. And the elevator doors open up, and we go into the lobby, and all of a sudden there were children that look like my daughter. There were families that look like our family. And I can remember the shock of that. My oldest daughter, who was 28 at the time, she just began to really literally sob because we had never seen other families that really look like our family. So it was really one of the most powerful moments, of my life as a mom. It's really indescribable, but that's the best way I can put it into words. But it was really powerful.
Yeah. When you find your people, you just know it. It's
You just know it. You just do. And, from that moment on, we have not looked back. We are really connected with the foundation. I serve on the parent advisory board, and it's an honor to do that. It is a small way that I can give back to our Milan community and to honor the work that those three moms started and continue to do.
to know the power to connect a world that is so large to, the 320 people out there. That's really, that is beautiful. You said something earlier about, would you say 10,000 plus diagnosis kind of falls in this rare?
Yeah,
Um,
there's an estimated over 10,000 rare diseases. So a rare disease is a disease that affects, I believe it's less than 200,000 people in the US. So the US we really have a uh, kind of concrete definition of what that looks like. And then we have ultra rare. So our daughter falls into the ultra rare category, which, a lot of people say probably less than 2,000 would really be ultra rare. I don't think there's a real concrete number there, but there are 10,000 different diagnoses out there. So Milan syndrome is just one of those 10,000. The symbol for rare disease is the zebra. It comes from oftentimes doctors say when you are told when you hear hoofbeats, it's just a horse. It's not a zebra. But, my child is a zebra. She is coming through.
that is actually a beautiful picture of just thinking, oh, we have a horse coming up, and you turning around and realizing it's a zebra. That's actually a beautiful picture. If someone is newly diagnosed in the community and they're like, okay, what do we do? Who do I go to? Where do I start? Are you someone that they could reach out to? Is that something you do and walk families through?
Absolutely. I love supporting families in that way. I am not doing that in a kind of an official capacity yet. We are working on a newly diagnosed resource pack. We would love to have that done, hopefully maybe in the next year. And really what that looks like is just grabbing other resources and putting them in a defined space that would be more helpful. We recently had someone who reached out and she was the only one diagnosed in the world with her genetic variant. And there so what we did was went back to the community and said, what would you tell this person? And they had some great advice. There are things like start a Facebook page or a Facebook group because that's the first place a lot of people go. Put your gene variant in the name of your Facebook group, and that is the first way you may find a connection of someone else who has found that they have this gene variant. So there are a lot of, little pieces of advice like that that I am happy to pass on. But I typically go to the experts, and those are the people who are diagnosed. Our 12-year-old daughter is the expert in living with her syndrome. She knows better than anyone. So oftentimes we ask her, I do ask her for advice. I ask her for ways that would make something easier for her, or what would she like something to look like. She's the expert on that. So I always try to go to the experts and just really it's about just gathering those resources and answers because I don't have all the answers. I only have the answers of a mom who has a daughter with Milan syndrome. So I don't have all of the answers, but I work really hard to connect people so they can get the answers. So we are on Facebook, Oklahoma Rare. Anybody can email me anytime. It's just sky@oklahomarare.org. I think we have a contact dash us at oklahomarare.org. And we would welcome anyone to reach out about events that are going on, about questions that they may have, or places that we can point them. We do have a strong community in Oklahoma. We just weren't really connected. So we have a lot of places to go to get those answers. And it's been a real goal to really connect us all in one place.
I love that, bringing everyone together and a great voice. I mean, a great voice for everyone as far as the advocacy goes. From what I understand, you're going out of town next week to Washington, D.C. So tell me about what you're going to experience there in D.C.
So during Rare Disease Week, so Rare Disease Day lands on the last day of February because, from time to time, it is February 29th, which is the rarest day of the year. This year it will land on Friday, February 28th. So the Every Life Foundation is an amazing rare advocacy organization. They create a conference And then they help to collaborate and get set up meetings for constituents with their legislators in Washington, D.C. So we will fly out on Monday, and Tuesday we'll have a conference. Wednesday we'll be on the Hill meeting with Congress and talking about rare policies, rare bills, and really the most powerful thing that we do is tell our story. So we get a chance to go into a congressional office and talk to Senator Mullen or Senator Langford and just really let them know how rare affects our lives, how important Medicaid is for us, how important the bills that are coming through are. In the past, probably 3 or 2 years, we have asked Senator Langford and Representative Bice to join the Rare Disease Congressional Caucus. And I'm happy to say last year they both joined. Senator Mullen was already a member of the Rare Disease Congressional Caucus. And that kind of advocacy, it matters. So telling our stories really, really does matter. And they really do listen. My favorite part about what Every Life does is they have a youth and teen advocacy week. So it is done remotely and it is in June. So if we're able to provide some links, I'm happy to link that up for anyone who's listening who might be interested. Our daughter participated. She's participated for the past 2 years, and our daughter has a pretty significant intellectual disability, and Every Life really does a great job at supporting her. She tells her story the way she wants to tell it. So she had a chance to talk to Representative Bice and tell her story the way she wants to tell it. And the kind of things that she says are, I want what is important to me is school, my friends, Taylor Swift, those kind of things. But what it does is it just brings home that every patient diagnosed wants what everyone wants. They want supports, the ability to thrive, and that's what I want too. So it's a really powerful week. It's really one of my favorite things that Every Life does. But Monday, yes, we'll be flying to DC and attending the conference, and we're really excited about that.
I love that. So will your daughter be going with you?
She chose not to go. So there
Yeah.
she is not a big fan of missing school, which she doesn't get that from me. So I don't know where she gets it from. I'm not 100% sure. But she's not a big fan of missing school. So we always invite her to events at the Capitol. We had planned to have a Rare Disease Day event yesterday, but the weather kind of put that on a reschedule. So we'll be rescheduling that. But she did want to go to that. She likes to go to the Capitol. She likes to drink out of the golden water fountains. That is a big deal to her. So she's getting more interested at being at the Oklahoma at the Capitol.
I'm curious, did you have any special training to go visit with your politicians?
So I am a Partners in Policymaking graduate. So I did Partners in Policymaking in 2017. And it's amazing. It's so amazing. But I will tell you, we had like a mock legislative weekend and I almost passed out. I almost passed out. Like I couldn't take it. I'm not a public speaker. Like this podcast is stressful for me because I am not a public speaker. So it it's the practice of it, really. So taking the building blocks that partners gave you, but it really is the practice of I can remember calling Oklahoma legislators and I would have a script in front of me and I would read it because I would get so flustered and nervous that I wouldn't know what to say. So I would write down exactly what I wanted to say and I would just read it. And that was really my first, touch point with legislators was I'm reading from a script. I'm just gonna, because I'm really good at the written word, but when it comes to, I'm just it doesn't it gets a mess when I'm trying to talk to people. For me, it was seeing them as I think I had them on a pedestal that while honoring the work that they do, the sacrifices that they made, that they're just people living in our communities that hopefully want to make a difference. And so talking to them in that way really helped me just to be able to say, you live in Oklahoma, you know the issues that we have, and talking in a relatable way really has helped me, to be able to communicate better. and it is hard, when you may have different political points of views, but I think there is always a way to find some common ground, and so that's really what we work on is just trying to find common ground when we're trying to get this Rare Disease Advisory Council bill through. It couldn't get through. It couldn't get through. So we started to ask why, tell me why and be honest with me. And then maybe we can find that common ground. So we were able to make some changes. And this year we do see it progressing. So it is just about asking questions and finding out the whys and being relatable because they're just, they're our community members.
What a powerful advocacy voice you have. Do you have advice for families or others in our community?
Would tell families is to keep pushing for answers, seek out community, and just know that you're not alone. And what I would tell healthcare providers is let's work together to make genetic testing more accessible and connect families to resources earlier. And what I would tell policymakers is I would just really urge them to support research, funding, and policies that help the rare disease families thrive.
Thank you for listening to this episode of We Saved You a Seat. Oklahoma Family Network promotes family-centered care and provides tools so families can make informed decisions, advocate for improved services, build connections among families, and serve as a trusted resource in health care of children and young adults. If you would like to become a supporting family or get in touch with another family, please contact Oklahoma Family Network at oklahomafamilynetwork.org or by calling 405-271-5072.